Now, a plan to ban the hijab in all sports is dividing the French government. On Tuesday, the Prime Minister held talks with key cabinet ministers as divisions start to mount. While religious symbols have been banned in schools since 2004, earlier this year, the Senate voted in favor of a proposal to ban religious clothing in sports due to their role in education. Now, last summer, during the Olympic Games, France was the only country to ban female athletes from wearing the hijab.
There is only one line within the government, and that is a line taken by the Prime Minister. And that line is very clear. That line is, of course, the determined fight against all forms of Islamist infiltration. This line is very clear. It supports the amended bill before the Senate. This line is very clear, and it explicitly states that no ostentatious religious symbol should be allowed to be worn in sporting competitions.
For more on this story, we can bring in our French politics editor, Marc Perelman. Marc, good to see you. What exactly is this all about?
Well, clearly, when someone stresses in front of Parliament that the line is very clear, it means that it's probably not that clear. And there are divisions inside the government over whether to ban the veil for women in sports that are regulated by the different sporting federations, not all the sports that you play on the weekend, but those that are regulated. The education minister, the sports minister are not in favor of a bill banning this. They argue that there is already a ruling by the Council of State, the highest administrative court, that says all the different federations have the freedom to decide their own rules when it comes to such issues, and say there's no need for a law. The federations can already decide on their own. Some might ban it, others don't. But there is another segment, and that's probably the majority of the government. The Interior Minister, Bruno Retailleau, the Justice Minister, Gérald Darmanin, are saying, no. We need to be crystal clear. We don't have to leave any leeway to the federations. They might have diverging views and they might make different decisions. It should be very clear and set in stone in the law. We should ban the hijab because it's French secularism in all the sports regulated by the federation, and hence support the bill by the Senate. The Prime Minister realized that there were open disagreements. The Justice Minister, Gérald Darmanin, publicly in a radio interview criticized the sports minister and the education minister, saying they were naive to believe that it was not a political message to wear the hijab, and that he was willing maybe to leave the government if this was not being heard by the Prime Minister. The Prime Minister decided to bring everyone together and saying, calm down, we have one line, we'll support the bill. So we'll see if this is what comes out of the National Assembly. But clearly, this is a contentious issue in France for many, many years, and this continues to be one, as we just explained.
Because, Marc, we have so many things going on in this country, yet periodically the veil issue keeps propping back up, doesn't it?
Absolutely. This is one of the latest instances. But you mentioned in 2004, 20 years ago, there was huge debates about banning. I just want to clarify, it's not just banning the hijab, it's banning ostentatious religious signs in school. This was a big debate, and eventually the ban was enacted and enforced. Then there were discussions about whether such a ban on religious signs should also apply at university. But this has been rejected because the argument was that, whereas in school those are, minors and their parents can have control, when they're 18 or more, there's no reason why there should be an imposition of such a rule. This was pushed aside, but it's still coming back. And sports, because of its visibility, has become now a bone of contention again, because some are saying, France is not respecting freedom of religion, even freedom of expression, by imposing such a ban. On the other hand, French secularists are saying, we have to be very strict. It's not against religion. It's about protecting the public space. And we consider that school is a public space, and sports, when it's regulated by the federation, is a public space. We'll have to see how this pans out.
Interesting stuff. Thank you very much for that, Marc. Marc Perelman there.